Yes, people. So today we're gonna have a. Oh, we're telling your followers that you started live video. Okay, just waiting for more people. Yeah, I'll leave this live on anyway. Today we've got a guest, Sikh Recovery Network. Hopefully they send me a link. Get the Sangat Wagwan, bro. Get that in the Niger. What's happening? So I've got a guest. I'm waiting for them to send me a link. It's gonna be with Sikh Recovery Network. But before we start the talk, so the mistake I made when I first got into Sikhi was just being a bit of a beg. Harpuria, send me a request, bro, so you can join the conversation. One second, let me just join him in.
All right, continue talking while he joins. So, what I was talking about being a beg, I used to follow people blindly, like older Singhs and other Singhs. Trying to join him in. 1 second, guys. How do I join him in? Okay, I've got to. 1 second, I'm just trying to join him. Accept. Okay, I'm just joining him in. This is the first time I've done that. Accept. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, 1 minute. I'm just trying to join in the guests. I've pressed accept. What happens? Yes. Hello. Harpuya. Let me try again. All right, can you hear me, guys? Okay. Yeah, the guests are here. Why do you there? So that's Cam from Sikh Recovery Network, and we got Jazz Right. I think I don't know where he's gone, but yeah. So first time I'm doing someone with a guest, so it's a bit technically, new to this thing. So, as I was saying before we get on with today's event, I was just saying that when I first joined Sikhi, I was a bit of a beg. I blindly followed people, and that led to a lot of mistakes. And when you blindly follow someone, you can get led astray. So it's always important to use your logic and not blindly follow someone. So that's what I was telling the Sangat. Today's talk is going to be with the Sikh Recovery Network. I will let them tell you what they do, what they're about. We're going to interview them. So obviously this is a street platform, and we want most of the issues of drugs and that a lot are in the streets. So I wanted to connect these guys to the streets and be an intermediate. Before we get to them, why I think everybody should listen, even if you don't have a drug problem yourself, eventually you don't know where life takes you. You know, when you fall on a downward spiral, we don't know where life's going to go. Guruji says our boat is still sailing, and don't laugh at next man, because you don't know when your boat's going to sink. You know, there's a Shabbat in Gurbani of that. So it's very important to know this information, because tomorrow we've got kids. Our kids could go on drugs. Our nephews and nieces could go on drugs. Our relatives could go on drugs. And we might need this help. What these guys do, the work these guys do is amazing. And I've seen it firsthand. So that's why I wanted to connect with these guys and connect them to my audience. So before we start the thing, I'm just going to give a bit of background facts. I've made some notes. So in the Asian community, the Sikh Punjabis are the #1 related to alcohol deaths. The Sikhs. Everywhere you go, when you say, I don't drink, they say, what? You're a Sikh, you don't drink? Oh, it's in your religion to drink. Everywhere I go. Oh, you don't drink, bro? I went to that wedding so-and-so and it was live, man. It would drink for free, bro. I got plastered. You mans live it up. So everyone thinks it's in our religion to drink. That's how many Sikhs drink. Yeah. So we also have other addictions: heroin, crack, cocaine, especially young females. When I'm talking to people in university, the cocaine, the cigarettes, the vaping is all increasing. So universally, I'm just going to talk about my stories that I know growing up. You know, I've had mumme, puffers, all die from alcohol. Loads of, you know, we're from like the Judge tribe. It's very strong in drinking culture, and every family will have someone that's an alcoholic or know someone that's died from drink. I guarantee it, every single family. So stories that I wanted to tell from my childhood, and you know, God strike me down if I'm lying. I say that because a lot of people lie about stories on the internet just to get views, make content. Yeah, so it's a little disclaimer that I do when I'm telling the truth. Always telling the truth, but just to make the audience realize it's not no content stuff. Yeah. So there, I had a mate called Mantage up in Amundasi. He used to chain smoke weed from morning to night. Chain smoking. I used to say to him, stop, man, you're doing too much. When his daughter was born, the day she was born, he got taken into hospital in A&E. He didn't see her being born. Or Persiga, his wife was giving birth downstairs. He went into a coma on the floor above her. He went into coma for 6 years until his body gave away. He never got to see his daughter. I had a best mate called Richard. He was on the weed, cannabis. It sent him loopy with paranoia, everything. It sent him loopy. He chased someone down, a stranger, in his boxers with a knife and chased someone down the street. Then he got sectioned. Then when he came out, you know, he's a Christian. We put him in the church and we helped him rehab, and now he's living a total normal life. Yeah. I had a mate called Chewy. He was from Vietnam. He had suffered. He had seen he's much older than me. He had seen something in the Vietnam War. So he was addicted to heroin. He used to steal from his mom. He used to steal from my house. He used to steal from everybody, start mugging, went prison. The heroin totally consumed him. He was such a talented martial artist, everything. Now he's in prison for a dumb murder. Yeah, because of the heroin. He destroyed his relationships with everybody because of the heroin. And he was a known person, a known banda, a known gangster. He could have made so much money, even if it was the wrong way, but the heroin destroyed everything. Yeah. Then when I used to go clubbing or even Sikh weddings, the violence that I saw because of alcohol, food violence, over dumbness. These people, some of my friends, they were normal, but when they drink, like bubble shares comes out of them and they start trouble for no reason. Yeah. So it'll be like stupid stuff. Oi, we're looking at, then go near them and spud them. And they no control, no emotional regulation. So some of the stories I heard when I used to do uni talks, or I used to sell weed back in the day. So when I used to go to uni dorms and sell weed, I used to sit there, chill and stuff like that. And then people say to me, she used to be a good girl until she came to uni, freedom from her parents, started drinking, and now she's wild and gets up to so much gun. Because I've got a guest today, I'm going to keep it a bit mellow because obviously there people are looking as well. But normally I'd go into a bit more details on what the gun was. But you can imagine what the gun was. Normal good girls, dressing appropriately, go to uni, nearly like the alcohol comes with the sex, comes with everything else. Yeah, these were good girls, but alcohol fueled. So some of the girls I met on my journey, they would have one night stands in the clubs. They would have some of them have even like some Gori and Kalia. When I used to do laminate floor working, I went to their house and then I'm fixing it. I'm saying, yeah, where's the baby's dad and stuff? I don't remember, man. I was drunk after the club. I don't remember. And obviously some people have had abortions, you know? So what I'm trying to say is that good girls and good guys, alcohol turns into binge drinking, turns into alcoholism, or they do stuff they wouldn't normally do. Do you know what I mean? The boys turn into homilies, the girls, good girls, then they turn into these wannabe Insta baddies and start being loose and doing stuff. So if you have children, you know, and they're going down that path, you know, we're going to think of today, we're going to discuss a lot of stuff, how to help them and how to come to terms with it first, that your child or you or someone else, you know, has a drug problem. So that's what all I want to say before. Oh yeah, another thing what I've been talking to some parents about is the religious circles. So we get our kids into Sikhi, think they're going to be safe, it's a safe haven from them, and then some parents are crying to me saying, "Apata socha changasi, he was into Sikhi, he was going to Sikhi, but now he's hooked on weed, on this Shidi Deg or whatever, or he's hooked on fame." We know the Nahangs have this Marada in their system, and whether it's right or wrong, I'm not that learned enough, but what I do know is being abused and it's affecting children's life. They're dropping out of uni, they're not working, they're being lazy, and um, even when the parents are worrying now, should I send my kids into Sikhi because they're going to end up in drugs? So that's a big concern. Whether the Nihang, when they do the Murada, they might do it. The old OG Nihangs in India, they don't look like Amalis. They can do Kata. They have a Murada code of conduct the way they do it. I am not learned on that. I am not clued up on how Nihangs do it. But in the UK, in the West Midlands area, kids are abusing Fim and they're abusing Sukkah and they are messing up their lives and their parents are worried. It's very big in Smevik. The excuse is when I take the Fim, it makes me do more part and it makes me connect. But I don't know where this Fim things come from. I've heard of Sukkah, which is a weed drink. I don't know the correct code of conduct. I don't know how to make it, but seems like kids are abusing it in the UK. We had an incident in Great Bar Gurdwara where a young Sikh had possibly lost his eye due to an argument over this issue here. So that's all I wanted to say about the problems that I've seen generally with alcohol and stuff. So we can't, paint it white and say there's not a problem. The whole world is suffering with these intoxications. So now I'll like Cam to introduce himself and tell us about his Sikh Recovery Network and his team and what each team member does.
Yeah, cheers. To begin with, I mean, you've touched upon quite a lot of subjects just in that short time that you've done.
Yeah.
Sikh Recovery Network. So Jaz Roy, he's the founder of Sikh Recovery Network, and he was an addict himself. I think next month he's going to be 16 years in recovery. And so his story only he can tell, not what he went through. But what he did decide was that when he started to become in recovery, that actually I'm not the only one. I need to give back and help others as well. And then he set up the Sikh Recovery Network. And so that's been running for quite a long time now. I think it's over 10 years now. And so then about a couple of years back, I got involved along the same thing as well. The same things from Share Charities. He's from Crossroads Gurukar in Coventry. And we got involved, because we could see there's a problem. I mean, as a community, we know there's a problem, but what are we doing about it? We talk about Punjab, so we say there's a massive issue in Punjab, but then at the same time, what we do is we're deflecting and not realising the fact that there's a bigger problem here, if not on par with what's happening in Punjab as well. So there's, Sikh Recovery, when he started off, Jaz was, he still does. He goes around up and down the country, people calling him, families calling him, saying, look, we need help around our loved ones. And he'll travel up and down the country. He holds a full-time job and he still does this. And he goes around helping individuals and their family members to help people in recovery, really, get them off the booze and support and provide support. And from an addict talking to another addict, it goes a long way. But one thing you mentioned, as we quickly touched upon as well, is the fact that, you said that, I think we're both from the 70s, late 70s, 80s, and back in those days, there was a marked difference that, there's Amritari families and there were non-Amritari families, right? And there's a massive gap in between, and so the Amritaris would always think, these type of masle, right? So these type of masle are from the problem is now is, right, now the Amritari family isn't the same it used to be as well, right? So again, that's a guy you born in a Amritari family, and that's the way it continues for generations. But now it doesn't. There's Kalamala everywhere, right? So it does affect Amritaris, right? And we're not talking. We haven't started upon that. Then hugs, there's other things that there's Amritaris who are breaking the red and going back to booze, or they're using booze or drugs as a substitute because they've got issues going on in their lives, and they're turning towards that. And even with that as well, I think, sometimes, we think that we understand where it comes. There must be trauma. We throw these words around. There must be trauma. Could be, it's not always the case. And that trauma isn't necessarily need to be from childhood. It can be, but it's not always the case. But there's cases where, you can build that trauma later on in life, or it's just basically that your drink has come out of control and you just can't stop. So there's various reasons why people drink, and I'm not an addict myself, so I'm not going to try to pretend that I understand it. I don't fully understand it. I'm learning constantly, working with the addicts myself as well. But it's more complex than we realize, right? And I used to be the type of the person, you know, sharp in there, and I'm like, lock him in, do band kar do, ape ki har juga, like, but that's not the way. Banda marna ya. If you lock an alcoholic and don't give them any booze at all, and they go cold turkey, right? There's chances that that person is going to pass away, you know. So it's not as simple as that. And the other thing is all intermixes. We all the whole world wants quick fixes, right? And one of the quick fixes apne siane do is India to dawai manga de, and that's what the people do. India to or the doctor, you know, we got even the Punjabi channels are highlighting some people get rog lage hoye, contact us today, that on dua kar lende hai, right? It's that, but the problem what we find is the sharab isn't necessarily the problem, the nasha isn't the problem. It's the root cause of why they're drinking or taking nasha in the first place that needs to be tackled, right? So we, you know, we hold a call every Friday, you know, for addicts, a Zoom call. Someone mentioned it yesterday. They go, I've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on recovery, hundreds of thousands of pounds. I know someone personally who the workplace spent 40 grand for 4 weeks, right? The work paid, you know, right? For this person to be sent to the top rehab, right? And Yaqeen Karo, that person drank on the first day when it came out. 40 grand down the drain on day one, right? So the point is, they sober you up, they sober you up, but the work that needs to take place at the end, right, is the crucial part. Actually getting into why that person is actually drinking in the first place, and overcoming that. So there's massive issues that we have as a community we don't use. I mean, the facilities are there in the community, we just don't know how to access them. And the other thing is, so but we don't know how to access them, or we're afraid to access them, or we're too proud to access them, right? Or the other side of that is that people are obtaining these services, but the services don't understand them, because, you know, they're using jargon that upper don't understand. And that's all. For instance, like, you know, like AA is another way, right? And people, you know, will say, well, you know, they're trying to convert you. That's not the case. All it is, the language is alien to us sometimes, right? So when they're talking about higher power, we unapologetically in that Sikh Recovery Network will say our higher power. We don't use the word higher power because our higher power is Vaigu. So why are we gonna you know, walk away from using that term? Really, I'm glad Randall's on there as well. He's another great guy. You can add value to the conversation as well, right? So the point is, you know, we need to create. Look, he's at this now, no? Apa lokan nu khilata. ऐसे करना जाके दुनिया को खिलाफता है ना सारे ने you know, we're ready for everyone and we're ready to stand for people and तक खाना चाहिए भी यार, right? But इतना ना हुए ना आप दे चेते भुला दिए. We're forgetting our own, right? And the only people that understand the Punjabi Sikh is the Punjabi Sikh. We're the only ones that have, so we understand it. Ankhya or Akkar, the two separate things. Ankara, we understand that. So we understand. For instance, let's say you're really not into the Sikhi, right? If you're using these type of words, right, that are going to sound alien to them, they're think, "Oh, you're trying to convert me now," right? So we know that we need to use words that people understand, right? Sangat is key in people's recovery, right? And you know, it's like, I mean, there's so much we can talk about. It's just crazy. Like, you know, when there's an old African proverb where it says it takes a whole village to bring up a child, right? The reality is, we're pack animals. Humans need other humans, right? So we don't need a village to bring up a child. We need a village around us throughout our life. We need Sangat around us constantly, to keep us on that path, right? And that's the key thing. So even with the stuff we're doing now, all we're doing is we're just helping people, find their Sikhi and utilize Sikhi for it. Because apadako gali vichu idaya, yeah, yeah. Your fufar is your fufar, and your masar is your masar. Pe, right? So when we're going elsewhere looking for mother, right? Pe nu start ke. Mitra mother to unni nahi hai. Everything we need is Sikhi and it's few Vaheguru. Vaheguru is mayor, but gal kithe hundi a gal hundi a bharose di.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So we can get rehab anywhere, but the Sikh Recovery Network is going to rehab you, and hopefully after that, bring you into Maharaj and Sikhi long-term recovery, long-term sangat, a safe space. So
I mean, very
just
quickly
just
on that
talk.
look, this is
Yeah,
look. We spoke about the 70s and 80s, right? You had the
yeah,
Amritaris and you had the non-Amritaris, right? But
yeah,
also, and that gap still exists today to some level as well, right?
yeah,
But also, if you got the
yeah,
Amritaris here and you got the non-Amritaris here, where does the the addicts fit in there? The addicts all the way over there. So what hope
yeah,
have they got, right? And it becomes to actually these people and now these addicts lose a sense of belonging and the sense of what do I belong to? Who am I? है ना, it's an identity crisis. ना तो कोई घर ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਡ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਲਓ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਕਦਰ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ
no, no, no,
ਹੈ ਨਾ,
no,
they're
no. They see
bored,
it as
right? So
losers,
ਜਦ
but
ਘਰ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ
yes,
ਕਦਰ, right, community out to the community ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, and your faith ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ. But what we're saying is, you know what we say, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੱਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ to do Simran and to like connect with the Sikhi ਨਾ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਹੱਕ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਹੱਕ ਆ. ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਰਾ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਆ, ਹਨਾ? And so when we say to people, empowering them to say, you know what, ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੋ, and they're like, I can't do ਅਰਦਾਸ. I mean, like, you don't need to do a formal ਅਰਦਾਸ. When you're talking, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, if we're saying ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਆ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੀ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਆ ਨਾ, ਭੈਣ ਆ, ਭਰਾ ਆ, ਮਾਂ ਆ, ਪੇ ਆ, right ਨਾ? So why can't we talk to the Guru like this? So what we're doing is, even with the Sikhi sense, ਆਪਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ, we made it unachievable and unapproachable.
no. With the Sikhi scene, they always preach to the already preached. They don't go out there to where, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji went out there, and people said to him like, how come you don't go to the good villages? He goes, they're already good. I need to go and change the people that are bad, or people that are lost, or people that need God. So just for example, now I got a cousin called, just say we name Amri, yeah, and he's on alcohol. He's 20 years old. He's going uni. He's been binge drinking. He's failed his exams. He's been kicked out, but he hasn't told his parents. He's on alcohol every single day, yeah? But he's staying at uni, right? Now I'll bring him to you. So talk me through the process. What happens? What do you do? Where are these retreats? So what is the Sikhi support? Which professional does what? So just talk me through a quick, brief process. Amrit's come to you. I've sent him to Sikh Recovery Network. What happens?
Okay, so very quick on that note, and just before that, the one thing I will say is that ultimately the key thing is does that person accept they have a problem, right, and that they want to stop, right? Because we'll have people say, bring people to like to jazz, like for instance, and the person like, I don't want to stop. We can't do anything there. Ultimately,
Okay.
If someone doesn't want to stop, right, it's like because people talk about rock bottom, right? People's rock bottom are different, and some people might say, you know what, when his missus leaves him and the kids go away, innit, that's his rock bottom, innit? Believe me, right? That's not people's rock bottom sometimes. That's not.
Yeah, there's a
rock bottom, so it's not finding the people, right? So let's say an individual comes, like, and usually they'll call up Jazz, and Jazz will have a conversation on the phone as well, right? And what we're trying to do is to, first of all, the person might better block his hand room on there, like, as in, like, if people don't understand it. But what we say is, there needs to be some commitment, right? If you want nothing free in this world, right? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time and everything as well, You have to walk. You have to walk that path as well, right? Right. So let's say one thing we'll say to it is there's a couple of things we do throughout the week, if I mentioned it, right? So on a Tuesday, there's a Zoom call that takes place, right? And it used to be hybrid in Coventry at GNP Guru Garden. So there's a call that takes place every 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. And there's another call that takes place, like a national call for SRM members. And we have people from internationally call as well. And that takes place at 8 o'clock on a Friday. So we would say to them, jump on those calls, right? Jump on those calls and listen to what people are saying, but interact as well. How you're feeling. Because sometimes these people are suppressed where the family don't as if and it's hard for men to talk in the first place, right? So we create this environment for them to actually talk about their problems in the first place. So when they come to like we'll say jump on these calls on the Tuesday and the Friday, right? And every Wednesday, right? Starting from next week again, right? We've got an office in Albury. It's called the Pure Offices, next door to Sandwell and Dudley train station, right? So every Wednesday from 5 to 8, that is an open session. You could come in. There's other addicts there as well. So it's a closed meeting. So not for family members. It's for the addicts to actually attend, right? Come down and see meet other people who will understand you. Because what the point is with these, and if I explain what happens at the retreats, The retreat, we got next retreat, and so the next retreat we're doing, the sixth one, is on the 23rd of Jan, right? So in a couple of weeks' time, there's a retreat taking place. And what we do is we take these addicts outside the environment and create a safe space for them, right? So it starts on a Thursday, and on the Thursday, what happens is, right, they come after work or whatever it may be, that bunch, but let's say once there now, right? So we will open the floor to everyone. So the last retreat we had about, let's say about the 25, 26, 27 people it was that came on that retreat, right? That's the addicts. Every single one is given time to talk about their problems, right? Khuli gal karo, jinni gal karni khuli karo, right? And we had some people saying, "Aaj nu hatayo na," right? I've been waiting for a forum like this where I can offload, and we're like, you know what, you take as long as you want, right? And this person just he just blatantly blurted it out. This is what I'm feeling. This is how I'm feeling, right? Everyone is given opportunity. And you know, the powerful thing about that is, right, by the time they go to sleep and they wake up in the morning, right, they're like this with each other. Because you know what it is? On that previous evening, nange ho gaye. They held nothing back. They just said, this is how I'm feeling. Because the first time they've been given opportunity to actually explain what's going on in their heads. Because family members, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it, right? You're the problem, right? But this forum is for them to open up. So then what happens on the retreats as well, right? Then we do workshops with them. So we got special programs that we're working on, and actually from an addict's point of view, but incorporating Sikhi. So Sikhi is a massive thing. We don't say, I dance Sikhi, that's not what it's about. What we're saying is, to reach out to a guru, right? So on the retreat, we, you know, in the morning, we do Netanem, and we do Abhyas, right? Evenings, we do Reras as well, right? Now, Sikhi spoken about all around food tonight. It's all vegetarian at the place as well, now, but we don't shy away from talking about Sikhi, but also about the problem. So they get an open forum about actually we give them different methods what might work, because the reality is there is no single method to say, here you go, follow this and you'll become sober. It doesn't work that way. Just as many reasons people pick up in the first place, right? That's how many different bespoke programs you need for individuals. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to say, try this, try that. There's other people who've got different levels of sobriety behind them. They will say, this is what I tried. And people will learn off each other. But what they do is they start building a community, right? Because they're talking to people who understand them. Now, if you go to a non-Punjabi Sikh place for recovery, right? If you're trying to explain to them, like, every weekend right now, I struggle, right? I can't be around family. And say, I've got a con part, and I have to be there, but I'm struggling. I can't go there drunk and all this stuff, right? Someone will say to them, don't go. And you're thinking, you don't understand the way our community works. They don't understand the way we're made up, right? But when you speak to another Punjabi or a Sikh and you say, this is how I'm feeling, these are the problems I got, they get it straight away. You don't need to explain yourself, right? So it's a forum where they're around like-minded people. It's their sangat. It may not be the sad sangat, but it's a sangat of some form, which helps them. So even so throughout the retreat, and you know what, so we have other people coming in. So we use therapists. So San therapy, she helps us around it as well, right? She does some deep trauma-based work as well, child-based stuff. So that we use those type of people involved as well, right? And we'll work around. And these are long days because they start off we wake up at 4 o'clock and to do the net and people are still talking up to 11, 12 o'clock, and we're back up in the morning again, right? And because what it is, they found a forum for them to actually connect with other people.
Yeah, because when you feel like shit, it's no point sitting with people that are doing great. You want the same vibration, so you unload on each other. So you've got the Sikh element, you've got the like-minded people, you've got the sound therapy. So the therapy, do they have long-term therapy? If they need it after, have you got links like that? The sound therapy gives long-term therapy to any of the people?
Yeah, so some people take up that therapy, but what it also says, utilize what's around you, contact your GP, use those services, because look, those services do exist, we should be utilizing it. Upper tax debt. We're like one of the highest taxpayers we are as Punjabi sector, right? We should be utilize it. Can I go to your GP, get those services available as well, right? We're saying, look, we're not saying ours SRN is a be-all end-all. We're not saying that. We're saying but this is just another way to help you. If this is for you, if it's for you, then utilize it, But then what we do is, so when the people come on the retreat, right? So it finishes on the Sunday, right? And you know what? People don't want to leave on a Sunday, because they're going back to their lives again, and they've had a time where they've been around like-minded people, had positive sangat, and they feel uplifted. And sometimes they're crapping themselves about going back and out. But what we do then, we started to do is we run a 90-day program. So after the retreat, they get signed up for the 90-day program, right? And it's all about accountability. So we will tell them you need to do something spiritually, you need to do a physical activity, and also you need to do something more creative. And there's other things we add on throughout the 90 days. And what we're trying to do is we can't help. If someone's going to drink, they're going to drink, you know? So what we chase is we chase sober moments. And if we can help some of these, right, stay sober for at least 90 days, right, the likelihood that they'll continue their journey with recovery is high, but also it gives 90 days for the families to because the families get neglected, you see. So although I mentioned the calls that we do on the Tuesday and the Friday, every Monday there's a family call that takes place, because what we recognize is actually there's only so much we can do. But if your family supports you on your journey, right, then you're likely to recover quite quickly, right? So what we do is we did a family workshop at Holy Bonds Gurukar before the new year, right? And the whole purpose is to strengthen the family members, to also give them a forum. So on a Monday, addicts can't join that call. It's only for family members to offload, because even the family members don't know where to go to offload, right? So it's about supporting the family. If we make them stronger, if we can empower the family to support the loved ones, right, the addicts have a stronger a chance of recovery, right? So even with the 90 days, so we're chasing sober moments, right? So for us, success is getting them so sober as long as they can. And if they drink at the end of it, but the point is, in it, they've done 90 days, right? They've given their bodies a rest for 90 days, right? And the support continues throughout that 90 days. And it doesn't mean that we say, okay, thank you for coming to Lohan. No, but there's a WhatsApp group that exists for addicts. And every Monday they've got to put down how long they've got in recovery, just to encourage each other to see how long they've got, right? And to celebrate it as well. So we're saying that, don't count, don't think that, you've got 5 days of recovery behind you. That's nothing to celebrate. Celebrate it. And that's 5 more days that you've been sober, right? But then every Wednesday is about being gratitude as well, and what we're trying to do in the 90 days is replacing bad habits with good habits.
Yeah, families are suffering, bro. Like, people are dying from this stuff. So you talked about males. Do females come? Do you deal with other drug patients like crack, heroin, cocaine, or would you accept people from any drug background?
Yeah,
because the process is similar, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, probably know a bit more about alcohol than the drugs, but there are people who are a bit more clued up with the drugs. So you have people with coke on the coke, chitta, and that's just horrendous. The amount of people on chitta, it really is. And we it's like having a cigarette these days, isn't it? Right? But that's a problem. So when people say, "Nah, it doesn't affect you," it bloody does affect you. Right? I know people my age who are struggling now because they've been constantly on the weed, so these are issues. And the female thing, we've had, we've got females who are part of the SRN, in recovery. They've come to the retreats, they attend the workshops, they attend the calls, because it affects every single one, right? It affects, and the worst thing is now, is like, you mentioned earlier when you first started about females drinking, and it's like, when they go away, well, actually, they don't need to go away now. It's happening in the house. And I give you an example of how big the issue now is, right? Is, back in the days, right? Let's say us who were born in the 70s, late 70s, 80s, right? We all, some of us could have been, my parents were Umar when I was a kid, right? But our generation turn around and say, you know what? I had a crazy upbringing. My dad was an addict, right? My dad was an alky, right? And there was Kotamar in the house and Kales in the house, right? And this is why I am the way, because my dad was a drunker. The problem we have now is, right, females drink brother to men, if not more, right? So SRN have got a report as well, right? They've got a report that they did as well about the problem, and it's on the rise. Female drinkers are on the rise. Now, also in 20 years' time, right, our generation was saying, my dad was an alky and there's Kotamar in the house, right? The up-and-coming generation will say, both my parents were alkies. What are we going to say then? And there's one thing someone said to me, one of the guys in recovery said to me, he goes, he goes, every day I was drinking, right, I was one day closer to becoming an addict.
Oh no, bro, some girls will say, like, if he doesn't drink, I don't want to marry him, he's boring. It's too goody goody.
When Kenya like this is the
No, no,
problem,
no.
and people
But
are arguing it, and he's like, if people say, like you said, you know, if you say to I cannot, I don't drink. Oh, Sikh doesn't drink. How does that work out? He needs Chanwari Galeni. That's what we're renowned for, you know? And the point is, you know, is like people. You listen to some of the stories from the addicts, and they started very young, right? Although the lock up in this again, but now it's very young, right? And the point is this as well, right? And if we're back in there, got there, right? About, you know, it's the mixed messages we give, and the cultural and the religious messages. But the other message, the one is, ना मेरा हुन पुत्त ना बराबर दा हो गया आज है ना 17 दा हो गया पुरानी तेनू अज नहीं right बांध शेर बन है ना बंदा बन पलाती है ना right so पलाती या बंदा बन we say बंदा बन पलाती है नहीं and ਜਦੋਂ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਚੜਦਾ like when the person becomes an addict what does that saying father say ਬੰਦਾ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਛਿੱਤਰ ਪਊਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ right so what ਬੰਦਾ do you want ਜਦੋਂ ਪਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ the first time ਉਦੋਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਣ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਣ so what ਬੰਦਾ do we want these guys to become ਹੈ ਨਾ
no, but you can't blame them. Jattism is their religion, isn't it?
well,
It's not Sikhism, it's Jattism.
it's called Mati Nuksan, man. Hold the Jattiyan, like it, but the point is, and look, Ranji's on here as well. I remember Ranj told me once, and he was doing some work in it, right? Ranji Bandal, right? He was doing some work around, like, you know, addictions and stuff as well, right? So he's worked quite intensively in that area. And what he said, he goes, when he was going around, like, doing research around, like, you know, halls and that, right? He goes, when he's taken around into the women's toilets, he goes, the amount of signs of chick being taken in those toilets, he goes, horrendous. On weddings, these are our weddings, right? So when we talk about that, like, so when we seen that those setting up band and dancing in the dance floor and thinking, "Do brat jaya band da it's chat aaya ke nasan bada hoya." That's how big the
Oh yeah, yeah. The uni scenes mash up coke, the girls, coke, alcohol. Like I said, abortions, one night stands. It's all happening, bro. I talk to the youth daily. Yeah.
Do you know
even the
do you know साਡਾ पता की है you've been around it I've been around it as well ना साਡਾ ध्यान हैगा है ना पीछे ठीक है होना चाहिए है पंजाब च होना चाहिए ना but no one's going to come here to support अपने here, you know, this mess has to be dealt with ourselves, you know? And the Gurdwara, you know, Jazzy's put some Gurdwara down that has supported Sikh Recovery Network, you know? Like Warsaw Guru Garden, we did a program there as well, and any Holy Bonds I mentioned, any GNP, you know, they do their regular weekly meetings as well, like, you know? The same thing from, you know, Crossroads, he helps massively, right? What he brings to the table as well, right? So Guru Gardens are changing that, but there's so much to do. We're scratching the surface. We had 28 people on the call yesterday, right? That's nothing compared to how big the problem is.
There's a massive problem, and it's good that you guys are addressing it. So your website is sikhrecoverynetwork.org, and at the end, I'll leave this live up. I'll put your stuff up. So the other thing I wanted to say was I've been increasing reports of vaping as well by the youth, you know, and even in the Sikh schools, there's been drug dealing going on, vaping going on in the playgrounds and Maharajas. So that's another concern as well, because people think vaping's harmless.
Yeah, you know what?
So, and that addiction, it starts from, look, when we were young, it was a cigarette, then it was a bit of weed, then it was a bit of coke, then a bit of drink, then a bit of crack, then a bit of heroin, and then boom. It starts so small, so it starts off from vaping habits. We need to get our kids into martial arts, we need to get our kids into other sort of stuff.
So what people don't understand, what people don't understand the THC kind of stuff is no two batches are the same, right? So I work within schools as well, innit, right? With the kids that get excluded, right? And we do these inputs, and every other week, right, there's kids who are getting falling flat on their face, right, because they're taking the wrong stuff from a vape, right? And what people understand, especially for the kids as well, innit, if you give someone a vape with that synthetic drugs in there, right, you're actually providing drugs, right? So you get yourself locked up. And that for the vaping side as well, but the vaping is massive issue, especially with the THC stuff in there as well, like, innit?
Oh, the upper neck kids, all like even Patke kids.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
I've seen it.
Yeah, you see increase of back in the day. You know, we see Amritaris drinking as much, but like you said, some of the Hangam does. I ain't got a clue on why they do it. What happens? Like I have read in history that some Singhs drank it before battle because when they got stabbed, they wanted to pull out the knife. It's a different circumstances. They wanted to be. That's how people justify it. But these mans are just drinking and sitting in the car, you know what I mean? they ain't doing nothing, bro. They ain't going to
And
run
this is
into
where
15 muggles, you know
and
what I
this
mean,
goes
bro?
back to what we're saying, innit? When Amrtai says that, you know, it's not an Amrtai problem, innit? It is, man.
Yeah.
It affects everyone. Everyone knows someone who's an alcoholic, and you know what the problem is? People aren't admitting it, right? But there's people who are, and the reason people aren't within circles aren't admitting it because they're thinking actually, you know, if I admit it, right, but a lot of the people drinking, there's people are like aren't admitting it, right? But it's a massive issue, and the worst thing is, always want to do is this. Look, the way I try to work with anything I do, right? I can see the clouds in the distance, right? And those clouds are going to come this way, right? So we need to do something today to prepare. So I don't know how when something happens, they were like always, you know, we're always reactionary, you know. We wait until something happens, then we say, "Oh, Koskodia, Koskodia, Koskodia." All we're trying to do is create something that at least when those clouds come in, there's something that already exists, so we don't have to start from scratch from day one, like in it, right? But like in it, I mean, you know, there needs to be more work happening up and down the country, and we need to be bold. Now, I think now's the time, right? We need to be bold to say, you know what, it's not acceptable. You need to see pili band karo, right? Nuksan ho raha, because I call it the accepted killer, right? We know it's killing us, but we bring it to our house ourselves. And you know, I remember walking in the supermarket, right? And there's this be with us like an auntie with a daughter, right? And she's like, she rang on the mobile, and she's talking to her husband. She goes, "इतने दोनों पेटियां दे की या सेल लगी हुई है, केड़ी लिया मा?" Right? So it's not like, you know, Punjab di apan gall karde hain. I mean, I think utte theek hai na, people are like, you know, pushing the drugs and the alcohol into the Punjabis. And who's pushing it here? We bring it into our houses ourselves. And that's what I'm saying. It's the accepted killer. We accept it's killing us, but we're bringing it into our own house. And and the reality is, right, we need a hard stop on it. It needs to be banned. The gum needs to be banned, because otherwise, and the thing is this, right? Some people say, "Sadi pichon aa rahi hai, tera pardada pinda siga, tera baba pinda siga, main hun pinda hai." So are we going to turn around to our kids and say, "You know what? You got no hope in life, because you know what? It's a generational thing." When do we
No,
actually
no.
draw the line on it and say, "You know what? Ban the karo kam like it."
No, yeah, bro, you know all this, even in India, government's doing this, that. No one's forcing it down your throat, bro. People have to take accountability, yeah? No heroin dealers forcing heroin down an addict's throat. Even here, the parents will blame, "Oh, friend, yeah, friend, yeah, friend, yeah." No one's holding you down and putting it down you or stuff like that. You gotta take accountability. We as Sikhs, or we like to play the blame game. Everything's in the government. Everything's in the government. Yo, who's the dealers in Punjab? It's not happening. Yeah, it's like the Kale used to blame the America for the gun killings. Bro, who's pulling the trigger, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if there's a gun shop in every corner. There's a gun shop. There's more gun shops in Texas, and that's a white man area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like we can play the blame game, bro. If you're not gonna drink, you're not gonna drink. Yeah. I grew up around heroin addicts. I didn't take heroin, bro. Those dealers, it was the easiest thing to do, bro. I grew up in trauma as well. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a lot of trauma. And if I took it, I took it. I got to be accountability. I can't say blame my area or my mate or my this. End of the day, no one forces you guys.
Yeah.
Not in this country. You take it because you want to take it. If you're chilling with your mates and they influence you, they're not forcing you. They might say, "Yara pila kota, let's go."
I mean,
They ain't bloody
and the
held you
thing is,
down.
it's like, you know, to change that mindset now, like for some people, it's too far gone. Unless they want to do it themselves, there's nothing we can do now. But one thing we do recognise, and Jazz and the same thing went to Khalsa school towards the end of last year, is that preventative work. And it's about having an honest conversation with kids to say, this is the nuksan that can happen, and we need to have those conversations early on, because this way, I mean, look, you know, even now as well, like I said, I work in the schools, yeah. You know, by the time a child becomes year 7, right, it's too late for some of the issues,
Nah, too late.
right? So
Too late. Yeah,
obviously,
I
right, so
educate my kids now.
year 6 and like final year in primary, right? We need to be capturing those kids and have those conversations, because as soon as they come to secondary school, year 7, but then they are the 6 week holiday.
Oh, bro, I live in Warsaw. There's alcoholics everywhere. Yeah, I'll take my kids. I'll show them. This is how you're gonna end. Even if you start this, I'll show them heroin addicts. I'll show them prostitutes. I'll show them everything. Show them this is how you can end up. Do you know what I mean? So you got to show them the reality so they don't even start. I don't care if they got a phobia of it. I'd rather than have a phobia of it than indulging intoxicating from it. Do you know what I mean? You got to make the kids streetwise from a young age.
And you know what? You know, hiding stuff away from our kids, they need to put, and that does nothing for our kids, right? They need to understand the hard reality of what, and we need to start having those conversations early on, you know.
Loads of conversations earlier on about sexual. You've got to safeguard them. Jamanna, life is like this. The internet's made life so fast, yeah, that something could be big news one day, the next day something else happens. Back in the day when we heard about murder or heard about something, the effect lasted about a month or 2 months. It's so fast moving. TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, these days, even like, bro, it frazzles your brain. That's a drug in itself. Yeah. But life is so fast moving that we've got to slow down, take time with our kids, and you know, anybody's kid can end up anyway. So don't diss other people's kids, because how they're gonna end up, bro. Because you know, everyone's boat is still sailing. You know, today I'm here sitting talking about Sikhs. Tomorrow something could happen and I could be a heroin addict, man. Never look down on people. You don't know the trauma they've been through. It's all trauma related. Some man's do it to fit in. Some man's do it for a little buzz. Some man's doing a little fun. Some man's think I'll do it short term when I go clubbing while at uni. You know, it's like I've heard girls say, look, man, before I settle down with a serious guy, I'm going to have fun, man. I'm going to date. I'm going to have sex with whoever I want. And when I find a serious guy, I'll settle down. But that becomes a habit. Then when they do settle down, they end up cheating in the gym in the car park. You know what I mean? I know real cases like that. You get me?
And the thing is, the reality is we've got to humble ourselves. No one's untouchable. Right, like I said, if we say that this is the Amritari problem, it affects everybody, because you know we kalda pata nahi like nyana ki karna ki. I can't guarantee what my kids are going to do, whatever. So the point is that it's about having the realistic conversation with our children, right? But kalu keh nahi sakte ki sanu kalda pata nahi siga. We need to have those, you know. So you know, even like Gustav talks about as well. With these type of conversations, we should be talking about with our children, because they're real life problems.
Yeah.
Right, problems that affect them. And if we're going to hide away from those conversations, because the point is this, right? If you're not having those conversations, who's having those conversations with your kids?
No, the only conversation that I hear people have is padle karo, jo marji kar lo, padle jo. You know, that's all the parents preach. And yeah, Aquam does paralik and they get education, bro. But the parents don't teach them nothing else. And you see what happens at these uni places. They come out with this.
Look, the point is this, like there's people who you know. So you know, when we think of drunks, like we think of them like gande kapre sitting in their puke on the park bench, right? Yeah. The thing with our drunks are, right? You know, our alcoholics, they're drunk in the house, right? They're homeless in the house, right? But the fact is, they're in the house because the mothers are picking up the puke and all this stuff like that. But come over here, and the thing is, and you've seen it, you know, the people they don't do the sasti cheese. Then they're drinking the big booze, right? And then the chitta like any, they're doing the funky stuff like any. So it affects every single person, every single class, right? Every part of society, you know. So it is a us problem. It isn't like it doesn't affect us. Don't look down on anyone, because when the thing is, look, with alcoholism and with addiction is no one's going to send you a letter to say, by the way, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be an addict, right? That stuff comes and creeps on you when you least expect it. And when people have all that goes out the window, or you think, you know what, then you do ardasa, sab kuch leda, ke inu theek kar do. So why are we doing that in the first place? You know, a family, we need to revisit what a family makeup looks like, and what we.
Yeah, 100. Everyone's on their phones, man. At dinner time, you know, even the Gore don't have Sunday roast no more. They're on their phones. When they're in the restaurant, they're on their phones. Who knows what the kids are watching on their phones, innit? Talking to who, doing what. So this, we got Parveen says, as a children's social worker, it's becoming more common to see kids as young as 10, 11 years old start drinking. Early education is key. Kids are not kids anymore. Yeah, they're not, bro. The internet has given them so much access to so many things that we can't keep up. So my mom used to just tell me when I was a kid the hard truth with alcohol and drugs, because I grew up. Chitta and balloons, too common. Yeah, balloons. You know how many car crashes have balloons? Very true. Balloons are terrible. So these are just vapes. So, bro, would I be wrong in saying that the Sikh Punjabi community has an epidemic of alcoholism and drug taking?
I will say so. I think it's one of the biggest issues we have. and then everything that comes along with it as well, right? So if you talk to Sikh Women's Network as well, right, they will say a lot of their cases involves a drunk perpetrator, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Goes hand in hand,
yeah,
and this is what it is, right? You know, when we say like, look, there's more than enough seva for everyone to crack on with,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No one owns the monopoly. No one owns
yeah.
anything about, you know, as in this is the only seva we can do. No, there's so much problems, right? Everyone needs to play their part, right? So even with organizations, they need to be working more tangibly together because everything's interlinked.
It all is,
है ना?
bro.
और तुम्हारा सोचना
Yeah,
let's say इधर देखो, even like, you know, even foster care as well, right? Let's say there's a problem with addiction in the house, right? ਉਹਦੇ ਖਾਤਰ ਕੀ ਆ, ਦੇ ਕੁੱਟਮਾਰ in the house, right? ਕੁੱਟਮਾਰ ਦੇ ਖਾਤਰ kids are taken into care, right? Innit? Where
safe
the kids going
place.
to
Yeah,
care? ਕਿਹੜੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ?
yeah.
And then we say, oh, ਸਾਡੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਧਰਮ 'ਚ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ. So where are foster carers? Na? So it is, our social issues are our biggest issues in the UK at the moment, and we're just turning a blind eye to it, right? And we're just playing these happy families, and we're just dressing up Gucci and all that stuff. And I mean, absolutely, ਜਦੋਂ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਸਾਡੇ it happened to me as well. ਸਾਡੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵਿਗੜ ਗਏ. ਮਿੱਤਰਾ, all that kind of stuff is going to mean, it's going to be meaningless.
Bro, we're the best at turning a blind eye. I had 3 live cases today about sexual assault in Godwara in West Midlands. 3 live cases. But we don't talk about it. Just with the alcoholism, we don't talk about it. Sharama. People don't want the kids to go and get help beside this and that. So I'm going to wrap it up because it's been ages. Thanks for coming on. So basically, you know, the website is sikhrecoverynetwork.org. The Insta must be at Sikh Recovery Network. Then we have Sound Therapies at Sound Therapies. I'll keep this live up and I'll put all these. Then I'll also talk to Dr. Sabeg Singh if he could help with alcohol and cigarettes or vapes or whatever. He does hypnotherapy. So, you know, if you mention our name, he'll definitely give you a discount. And I'll put his stuff up. So how about, can people donate to you guys? Do you charge for these retreats? How does the Maya side, the money side work? Is there money involved? Let us know.
Yeah, I mean,
can we help?
Yeah. So for the retreat, I mean, this retreat, it's £150. No? That just covers the you know, accommodation and food and all sorts of. No? But really, it's nothing compared to what people are paying thousands for rehab. No? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the support is all voluntary. People come out. If they want to donate, they can donate. If not, we carry on the work continues regardless.
Continues. Yeah. No, excellent. So basically, I'm going to just put all your details up there. People want to help, they can join help. If people want to send people to you, they can send people to you. So Sikh Recovery Network, they're stopping alcoholism. They were also willing to work with any gender. They're also willing to help you get off any other drugs, hard drugs, cocaine, crack, heroin. They've got professionals involved that can give you therapy. And their message is hard and strong. Stay away from intoxicants. It's destroying lives. It's causing domestic violence. It's causing rape. It's causing murder. We're in the Sikh homes. It's causing parental issues. Dads ain't being dads. Mums ain't being mums. We have the religious scene. There's a lot of drugs, theme, weed and alcoholism in the religious scene. People used to go to the religious scene. Our parents are worried, saying in the clubs, the unis is one thing. And now in the religious scene in the UK, there's been a massive use of drugs, all in the guise of rate. I'm not saying these rates don't exist, but are people abusing these rates? Are they getting too carried away? So I'm not that learned on that topic. I don't want to make it controversial or whatever. But from my own personal view, from Cam's personal view, we've seen drugs ruins lives. Yeah. And it will be hard to debate us on that. Do you know what I mean? Because all my life I've lived in the ghetto and all I've seen is destruction, Nuksan, Amelie, good girl turned bad, into guns. And, you know, it starts from the fag, drink, boom, boom, on heroin, prostitution. It all happens, man. It's all happening. I've not heard about fentanyl in the Sikh community. Fentanyl is mainly an American thing, but you got spice here. I haven't seen it. The most common drug that Sikh use is cocaine, alcohol, and weed. And you do have a lot of heroin addicts deep down in the ghettos, because a lot of the Sikhs where I lived, they were heroin addicts. Unfortunately, they were deaking up, and I've seen that firsthand. Quite a lot. I can name names, like I can have 10 names. So thanks, Cam, for coming on. I'm gonna leave this up. It's very insightful, and basically, if you have any problems with alcoholism or whatever, I reckon we should all join these lots social medias, because we don't know. And nyane don't listen to parents; they listen to other people. You get me? I could tell my kids go and do this, do this. As soon as my friend comes and tells them, they'll do it. When it's me, they don't do it, mate. And I was the same as well. My mum told me, man, they'll use you, they'll do this, they're two-faced, they're this, you don't know, as you're not born in Punjab. I said, nah, that's Punjab. I've done everything she said to me, it all came true. Chilla Cam,
Nice one,
respect.
buddy.
So, last Sikh Recovery Network, thanks for your time, bro,
That's
man.
all.
It was really good, man. Insightful, man. I hope this helps people, man. You know what I mean?
No problem.
I really do. And I carry on with the great work, all the team, man. To Sam Singh, Jazz Rai, who started this through his own alcohol problems and thought he wanted to help other people, you know, and sound therapies, you know what I mean? That's providing long-term therapy solutions. And I'm going to get you more therapists, bro. Don't worry, bro. Respect, bro.
Okay.
Thanks, yeah? Why would you
Alright, good
cause
answer. Alright, keep it there.